Good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Erie City Advisory Council. Today is Wednesday, January 28, 2026. We'll begin with roll call. Puz is present. Mason?
Here.
Campbell?
Here.
Carey?
Here.
Lupo?
Here.
Tepfer? Absent. We have one vacancy. Associate members Tarvin?
Here.
Walmsley? Absent. Wedekin?
Here.
Others, Director Spry?
Here.
Moore? And Peelman?
Here.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda, amendment and approval of the agenda. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to, I want to discuss something for the agenda for next month.
Okay.
So I don't know whether you.
No, this would be for the current
do another
agenda.
business,
Yeah.
okay.
I do have an addition to the agenda. Under new business, I wanted to discuss with the council a potential letter to submit to the mayor, to Mayor Devlin, about the priorities and goals of the EAC, so that she's aware of what this council is, what our priorities are. Other commissions, boards, and authorities have been doing that, and I think it would be a good idea if we did the same.
Okay.
So we can talk about that.
All right, yes,
Sorry,
so,
to add to the agenda.
Yeah, so make a motion. Anyone to make a motion to amend the agenda?
I will make a motion to amend the agenda to add another bullet point under new business, letter to the mayor about EAC.
Sounds good. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All opposed? Good. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All right, so moved. Make a motion to approve the agenda. Do
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
So moved. All right, next item on the agenda, election of officers. So do we have any nominations for chair?
You. I nominate you to continue as chair.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, do we have any other nominations for chair? Any other? All right, seeing none, we'll vote on me as the chair. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
all opposed? Me. So moved. I'll be the chair for this, the 2026 year.
You do a good job.
All right, and then we're going to let the record show that Tepfer is present. Vice chair, do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Sherry.
Okay.
I have a second. All right, all in favor? The nomination?
Aye.
All right. All opposed? All right, do we have any other nominations for vice chair?
Do you want to be vice chair? Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I knew that you were scared that I would like. You got it.
All right, so vote on the nomination. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Vice chair is Dr. Mason. And the other officer would be for secretary. Do I have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate John.
Michael? Mike?
Yep.
Well,
Yes.
John is
I go
his
by
email.
both. That's good.
I have to remember his email.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of the nomination?
Yes.
Any other nominations? Vote on the nomination. It's anonymous. I wish it was anonymous, unanimous. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? So moved. Mr. Campbell, or Dr. Campbell, right, is the secretary.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, on to the next item. Item 4, approval of the November 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Item 5, introduction of visitors. Do we have any visitors today that'd like to introduce themselves?
Hello, everybody. My name's Troy Williams. I'm the coordinator of the Davidson Mayor's Office.
Could you say that slowly?
Come up
Yeah,
to the
please come to the-
microphone. Not to call you out, but Tori, please come to the microphone.
Hello. My name's Tori Williams. I'm the coordinator of community affairs in the mayor's office. I'm just here with you for the next 10 minutes as I have to jump to another meeting, but super excited to learn from you all and work with you all this year and moving forward. Thanks.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Any other visitors who'd like to introduce themselves?
Hello, I know some of you already. I'm Marilyn Pohl. I am on City Council this year, and I will be your liaison for this upcoming year. So I'm excited to learn all about this committee.
Thank you. Any other visitors?
Come on, Matthew.
I don't really think of myself as a visitor. I live here. My name is Matthew Falcone. I'm the city's historic preservation planner. It's a bit of a misnomer because part of what I do is also a tremendous amount of conservation work. So I appreciate all of the time and effort all of you put into this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what my colleagues are going to present here later today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to all our visitors. Any other visitors? Just make sure. All right. Thank you for coming. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any members of the public who would like to make comment today? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. Item 7, the subcommittees. First item under subcommittees is the single-use plastic ban ordinance.
That would be me. So we missed our December meeting due to weather, but we met in January, and we are just continuing to meet monthly, and each of us are going around and talking with community members, trying to gather data and gain information to help us inform any ordinance that we might put together. Ideally, kind of the idea was that we might have a report done by the end of this month. That's not going to happen. So we're probably looking at later in the spring, just because of the length of time that it's taking many of us, especially those of us who work, to find time to go around and talk with the community members. But we are continuing to work on it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item B under subcommittees, dark sky. Do we have any updates on that?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Does look like under new business, dark sky presentation, it seems like we'll have an update from the staff, so. All right, next item, under old business, we have first item, LCAP updates.
So, as you may remember from last year, we did set aside in the planning, what is now called the Bureau of Planning and Zoning, formerly Planning and Neighborhood Resources. Within our budget for this year, we've set aside money for the local climate action plan. That being said, before we move forward and with some of the other initiatives that we are working on with EAC, I wanted to have a little bit larger discussion with the mayor and the administration regarding all things environmental and sustainability. Sarah, I know, will be meeting with the mayor in the next in a week or two to talk about the previous administration's commitments in terms of what they've already committed to, if we're going to continue it with some of those commitments, like the 2030 district and some of the other things that the previous administration agreed to. And then the broader discussion would be around what is it that the EAC's role is, Urban Forest Committee, our priorities and goals, how we are aligning them, and how we're going to move forward. And the LCAP absolutely has a role within that discussion. So I I want you to know I'm trying to be a bit more strategic here this time around because we have a new administration. So not that we weren't necessarily not strategic. I think it wasn't the right time. I've talked to Sarah about finding potentially additional funding possibly for the LCAP, and that's something maybe that we can discuss. Maybe next meeting, we can bring some other options of potential funding streams to help supplement that $50,000 that's in our coffers right now. So that's where we're at. Any questions?
The 50,000, is that the tree money, or is that something?
The $50,000 is what was set aside for the local climate action plan
In the budget.
in the budget, in our budget.
In the planning budget?
In the Bureau of Planning and Zoning
Oh.
budget for the purposes of the LCAP, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So the timeline for that plan is dependent on your meeting with administration?
The timeline for if we were to issue an RFP, let's say, yes, I would prefer to have those conversations first. And it might not just be me that's speaking at this meeting. I mean, I haven't thought through and maybe would reach out to some of you with some guidance of who should be in that room talking through some of these, because many of you do the work on the outside and know it much better than I do. So the timeline would be that the meeting hopefully will be held within the next month. So in the near future, yeah. No, yeah, in the near future. And we also have some additional funding that we're looking at through the state and how that all aligns, and all of that kind of interplays into how we would like to move forward, or how we hope to move forward. So, including the initiative, Sam, the plastic bag ban initiative. Okay. I mean, I know that there's been discussion in the past about meeting with council, meeting with interdepartments, meeting with the administration, and I understand that you still are interested in having those discussions, and that would be part of this too. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds good. I'm actually glad to hear about going after state funds. I know with the current administration at the state level, they're very open to planning efforts, so that's great to hear. Any other comments on the LCAP update?
Since you mentioned the plastic bag, I'm going to go backwards. And how are you doing in Gannon and getting the grant that would help the water authority get the
community change grant was terminated when there was a change in presidential power. So none of them were even read. Yeah, so whether it was our application, or I think there was another application that was submitted under a different track, both of those were not even read. And we tried to talk to our representatives about it, but yeah, anyway. It is unfortunate.
well, maybe there's
I'm
another way.
going to keep it in, I have it, and like third time's the charm, right? I've already applied once for one. This was the second. So next time it's going to happen. And I still have my bottle of champagne. So we're gonna are they like wine? They get better as long as you hold? I don't know. If not, I'll just drink it.
I know you put a lot of work into that project, Sam. Thank you. We'll keep our eye out for funding sources.
All right. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item B, the Penn State LCAP Local Government Operations Inventory.
Sarah, why don't you tag team with me? I have actually the proposal or agreement that the Penn State has just issued to us on what their deliverables will be for this project. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to read them out to you. The first deliverable will provide comprehensive guidance on historic funding opportunities, documenting relevant preservation funding streams, and defining pathways to integrate them with energy efficiency and climate goals, leveraging resources from organizations like the Green Building Alliance and lessons from other cities' experiences. This is a draft, just so you know. The second deliverable will create standardized citywide facilities, retrofit best practice guidelines to ensure consistent high-impact upgrades across all municipal properties. And the third deliverable will develop a practical fleet transition plan focused on priority departments, particularly the police department, which accounts for 63% of the city's gasoline consumption, creating a roadmap toward low and zero emission vehicles aligned with Erie's operational constraints. So it's a lot. Go ahead, Sam.
I guess my question, so this is like, because they were working in the fall, right? And
Yes,
did we
they
get
did all the, yes.
Did we get a result from that? Did we see it? I assume you guys did.
We actually haven't seen it yet because we had an internal meeting scheduled that had to get canceled. They have completed their analysis.
Okay.
And worked in the ICLEI system.
Okay.
And now they're moving on to what
So these are like
the
deliverables. Based upon this analysis, these are the next things that we're going to do.
Based upon their greenhouse gas inventory that they did on only our city properties, this is now the deliverables that they're going to be giving. Am I stating that?
Does the ICLEI, which I barely understand what it is, but all those databases and stuff, where do they reside? Is it federal government or something more secure?
I think it's with it's a program Penn State University uses.
Good.
ICLEI is it's something that you buy into. It's
Application.
I forget what's that?
It's like a software.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a software
Okay.
system
All right.
that you purchase the rights to.
So it's not something at the Department of Energy or something?
No.
Good.
So they're focusing on practical, high-impact strategies really to advance Erie's sustainability goals through the facilities improvements, fleet transition planning, and leveraging Historic Preservation Fund for climate changes. So those three categories is what we determined with them at the beginning of this project. So we intentionally did not have them present to the EAC because it is so internal, and really it should be discussed first internally as to how the city wants to handle moving the recommendations and the data, and then hopefully at the end of this project we would then present everything to the EAC and keep you informed.
And this would seem to feed into the LCAP too, right?
Oh,
Like this,
absolutely.
yeah.
And everything they present is just recommendations for the city to consider, but they're helping us prioritize the most cost-benefit ones that we might want to consider pursuing.
Yeah.
So nothing is like a binding contract.
And this is a very different experience than we had last year, where we had pretty young, they were students. These are students that we're working with, but they happen to be also professionals that are going back to school. So one of them, who is in Montana, I believe, and goes to Penn State, he's a virtual student. He works in logistics, so he's handling the fleet side of all the data, which is very interesting. So, and the other gentleman is, I think he works in, I can't remember what he does, but he's in project management. And so he's been really moving this project along and helping us with keeping things on track. So it's a very different experience, just different, not bad or good, just different, yeah.
Yeah, they understand considering the feasibility of the goals more.
Yeah.
So I listened to the EMTA meeting the other day, and they, I don't know if it was their plan or some document they were looking at, one of the board members asked them to remove electric vehicles as a goal and just do something a little different because they're so focused on CNG-run vehicles. But I hope CNG is not benevolent or benign, so I hope that we're not doing something like that here.
We haven't eliminated any of our options yet. we're still considering everything that we possibly can.
Thank
All
you.
right, any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none. On to new business. First item under new business, dark sky presentation by Cooper Moore and Hannah Oleski.
Hello, I'm Hannah Oleski, and I'm the Neighborhood Resource Coordinator for the Bureau of Planning and Zoning. And most of you know Cooper Moore, who is the Assistant Planner in Planning and Zoning as well. And we're here to present about dark sky ordinances, which a lot of you are familiar of, but we're kind of taking a different frame to look at it in a different way besides just bird migration. So I'm going to leave it to Cooper.
Thank you. Yes, so with the new administration that just released a new transition document with new goals, we thought this might be a good opportunity to connect this initiative to some of those goals and reframe our conversation around a dark sky ordinance and maybe build a little momentum around this, because this is something we're very interested in pursuing. And as Hannah said, some of this is probably familiar to many of you already, but if you bear with us, we'll get to our ask at the end. So dark sky ordinances, also referred to as outdoor lighting ordinances, are ordinances that ensure safe, aesthetically pleasing, and energy efficient outdoor lighting, preserving views of the night skies and minimizing harm to species that are disturbed by artificial lighting. Without a strong lighting ordinance and enforcement of that ordinance, we really, thank you for the dark sky. We really don't have any control over outdoor lighting. And we can use an outdoor lighting ordinance by mandating or encouraging the use of shielded light fixtures, timing controls, other modern technologies. So why we need one? Light pollution is a serious issue in our city. Not only is Erie a hotspot for migratory birds, we have a significant population affected by the conditions of our built environment, and the city is in need of greater control over our outdoor lighting. So we've broken down some of the issues with uncontrolled lighting into safety, respect, energy cost and savings, and environment. And we're going to tie some of these to some goals of the new administration, and we'll start with safety.
So the first thing with safety is we wanted to identify what glare was, which the definition is right there, that it's a bright light that's unshielded and it's misaimed, and oftentimes it can cause vision issues. It can also lead to car crashes, other accidents of that nature. And then LED lighting is something that a lot of cities are transitioning to. It helps reduce risks. It also has so the left picture has a higher color rendering index, or CRI, and those lights are actually called HPS lighting. And then on the right is an LED street light. It also ensures more accurate colors, so people who may not be able to see certain colors or have issues seeing at night in particular, it will actually be able to illuminate the roads and pedestrian walkways significantly better, enhancing nighttime visibility. And then, in case some of you also didn't know, we just got funding to kind of begin implementing our safety action plan, which comes from the Safe Streets for All. And within the plan that we drafted, there are some recommendations that focus on shielding light downwards for pedestrian safety, as well as improving street lighting, reducing visual clutter around the city, and specifically enhancing driver visibility throughout the city as well. And then we kind of tied in safety and respect into one category for this, because the question is, how is replacing streetlights that are in dark sky compliance assisting Erie neighborhoods? So that picture up on the screen is actually from Pittsburgh, who recently just put in their ordinance, which we'll get into in a little bit. The left side is with the HPS fixtured lights, which you saw in the previous slide. And then on the right is with the new LED fixtures that they were installing. It creates safer streets. It reduces light pollution, because even though the light may look brighter, it actually is not consuming as much energy. The light pollution is less. And it also begins to address the lighting gaps that are throughout the city and neighborhoods specifically.
Okay, and then respect, we're talking about light trespass. This is excessive night lighting, which can be a nuisance and cause minor inconveniences regarding sleeping. As someone who lives right downtown here with an unshielded light right outside his bedroom window, this is also kind of personal for me. But lights should be shielded down where people need the light and not point up into the sky where we lose most of it. Our lighting in the city has a negative impact on major environmental attractions like Presque Isle or Erie Bluffs, just due to our proximity to these destinations. And we know that we'll always have some light pollution just due to the size of the city and the necessity of lighting at night. But a people-centric lighting ordinance can mitigate some of these effects on our neighborhoods and residents by prioritizing the human experience. So a simple solution would just be to have businesses shut off lights when they're not open or outdoor signs. We could also start just with city-owned lights. I think the city owns somewhere around 700 or 800 lights, something we have direct control over, and we could start right there. We used the dark sky ordinance that the city of Pittsburgh passed a few years ago as a major reference for this. So it's going to start popping up more and more. This is a map of lighting gaps in the city of Pittsburgh, which shows horizontal illumination gaps over 250 feet, and tying that into kind of safety. We shouldn't have parts of our city that are not lit up at night. And they also noted in the Pittsburgh dark sky ordinance that communities of color experience overlighting and light pollution that have negative impacts at a disproportionate rate.
And then some would say arguably the most important point because of being a city is the cost of how much we're spending. So energy waste and light waste are the number one and number two. Energy waste is inefficient technology, that kind of thing. And we've been looking a lot at the International Dark Skies Association. Their website has a lot of good research and information about just dark skies in general. And they noted that almost 15 million tons of CO2 are emitted just by the United States based on just residential outdoor lighting. And at least 30% of that light that is being, 30% of that is wasted unshielded light. So you're wasting money right there as a resident. And then that leads directly into light waste, with the Department of Energy noted in 2022 that over $15 billion can be saved if we begin transitioning to more energy efficient LED lighting. And that graphic is from the International Dark Skies Association that actually only 1% of our outdoor light actually serves a purpose because humans can't see certain light bands, and actually 99% of it is being wasted. And then Pittsburgh also has a really good document that they worked with a couple consultants on that kind of breaks down their energy costs. So they're currently in the process of replacing over 36,000 lights that they own throughout the city to these LED fixtures. So right now the city itself is saving almost $1 million a year by doing this across their entire city footprint. And the maintenance of having newer lights, specifically LEDs, their lifetime, they have a longer lifetime than non-traditional ones. So they're saving $500,000 a year by also having that be done. And then they also can see a decrease in wattage per year, which is down by 63%. And they were using federal dollars, which through ARP, which we're familiar with, to be able to fund this project. And then just the image on the right, just shows how much the wattage at the top is 13 million, and then it breaks down how much that can actually, you can charge, 750 million cell phones with that. You power coal, 13 million pounds of it. And it breaks down into smaller things that we can actually understand. So.
Okay, then finally we have the environment. We all know light pollution is detrimental to the natural day-night cycles of animals and causes disruption with nocturnal animals that maybe hunt or hide at night. Abundant artificial light can alter plant growth cycles and affect the behavior of pollinators. And of course, wasted energy from excessive and uncontrolled lighting contributes directly to greenhouse gas emissions. We know that Erie has a huge migratory bird population. This is just one night last year when we had over about 2.5 million birds flying over the city. And of course, they are affected by light pollution pretty heavily. And then sky glow, talking about uncontrolled night lighting that obscures and diminishes views of the natural sky, which is created by the combined effect of all the uplight in an area. And unfortunately, 80% of the world's population lives under a sky glow. And then we'll quickly just talk about the benefits of a dark sky ordinance. Energy cost and savings, we've talked a little bit about that. Appropriately used lighting reduces energy costs and improves visibility. Environmental protection, we can protect the birds and the wildlife that rely on our day-night cycles. Preservation of the dark sky, shielded lighting helps preserve views of the stars from within the city. It improves our built environment, both safety and in terms of aesthetics for our neighborhoods and downtown. Cost-effective planning. This helps provide clear rules and guidelines for developers, preventing disputes, letting everyone know what is expected of them and that our developments are meeting our community standards. And then reduce light, trespass, and glare, so people who live downtown can sleep at night. And then Hannah will talk about lighting principles.
And then on the Dark Skies Association website, they have 5 principles to kind of begin curtailing how a city, a township, or a borough begins to change their lighting practices. First is making sure that it's light that's only needed, that's useful, making sure that we're targeting direct light down, as Cooper was saying, low level. We can have bright light bulbs like LEDs and have them be warmer, cooler light bulbs, and then being controlled, going back to cost-effective planning, and then warm colored bulbs that help create a less harsh bright light on residents and on the environment. And then we just wanted to kind of highlight some of Pittsburgh's ordinance information. So they just passed this in 2021, and we were speaking with a professor out of Carnegie Mellon this past week who helped significantly in adopting their ordinance. So theirs was just done in 2021. It's beginning with all city properties, which doesn't just include buildings. It includes boulevards, the public right-of-way, parks. Any land that would be classified as a city-owned parcel would be obligated to follow their ordinance. So that step 1 was beginning to transition a lot of their streetlights, over 36,000, to those LED bulbs. They talked about safety and security. They talked about reducing light pollution, saving energy, saving taxpayer dollars, as well as being equitable when they were thinking about it. They have a really cool website that her name is Diane, that she shared with us if anybody's interested. It's just a tracker to show where they're at and how many light bulbs and streetlights they've replaced. And then because of their actions, the zoo, the aquarium, and Phipps Conservatory, and the aviary also all established that ordinance on their land too. So if you're ever in Pittsburgh, you could see that be different. And that image that is the back is actually a view from the International Space Station of Pittsburgh in 2021.
Okay, and then wrapping it up, we just have a couple of things to consider and to highlight. What we think is key for a dark sky ordinance for us is a resident focus, protecting against development whose exterior lighting could destroy a community's character, impede on a residential neighborhood with glare, or pollute our sky with light. Proactive policies, not just corrective language, but a strong ordinance that prevents bad lighting installations that might be in place for a long time. And then comprehensive language that doesn't just say lighting should be adequate or restricted, but gives actual data and implementable goals. And then so for our ask, we have been reaching out to a number of subject matter experts to kind of put together a little brain trust. And first, we're asking that you include subject matter experts in the subcommittee and reframe the discussions to be focused on a broad dark sky ordinance. The result of that will hopefully be the creation of a general outline specific to our city that we can incorporate into a final ordinance. And then finally, providing a recommendation to the administration that tasks our bureau with creating a dark sky ordinance for approval by City Council. If there are any immediate questions, we're happy to take them. Otherwise, you know where to find us. Thanks.
So I brought up signs.
Yeah.
So is this also going to?
This would just be specific, it just depends on the language of the ordinance. We already have a sign ordinance, so if there were to be updates to signage, that would have to go through the ordinance that is already created. I've done research on that. I think at this current time, it's not necessarily a top priority, which is why we're starting with dark skies, because then we can begin to tackle, I believe, numerous amounts of things after that if this is step 1.
Well, for those of us who are visually sensitive, it is a priority.
Right, and it's definitely, I probably used an inappropriate word, but if we were to get this ordinance put in first, the precedent that is being set with this would then be able to, I think, adjust our signing ordinance in a significantly better manner than just starting with the signage ordinance that's already created. I don't know if
if I may,
go ahead.
It is a priority of ours to look at signage as a whole. We do have, as you know, in the zoning ordinance, a small section, a few pages that do speak to signage in the zoning ordinance, as well as LED regulations, LED lighting. So I think in terms of dark skies, what the focus was here was more on what the city itself can do and impact on our own lands. First and foremost, looking at Pittsburgh as more of a model. That being said, signage is absolutely still a priority. We've talked about it in the past. If we were to hopefully receive funding to redo the zoning ordinance, at that time we would look at whether signage should remain in the zoning ordinance or it should be a separate signage ordinance. So yes, we are still considering those things.
Yes, and a dark sky ordinance could certainly include illuminated signage.
Are these asks, the subcommittee you're mentioning there is the EAC subcommittee?
Yes, yeah, the dark sky subcommittee.
Yeah, we're going to need a copy of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And currently, that was one of the questions is, right now, I believe Freda and Mike are on, and Matt were made up the subcommittee of the dark skies. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So, yes, I think the first and foremost is, and Hannah and Cooper can speak to this and connect you with that, more resources, but there's some people locally and also people, subject matter experts, both locally and also who could help us in the Pittsburgh area, that I think would be a great addition. And in our bylaws, it does state that they don't have to be, the subcommittee can be made up of people outside of the EAC, and that they can be subject matter experts. In fact, I remember working through that with you. So it is allowable and recommended here.
Yeah. And Diane Tershek is her name. She's a professor at Carnegie Mellon in the physics department. She did say that she only does dark skies things outside of work, so it would be more of a hobby. And Cooper and I have also been connected to, thanks to Matthew Falcone, to Mr. Cheese at the school district, and then Jim Gavio from Penn State Barron, who does the planetarium there. And we've reached out to both of them as well today to kind of begin that conversation of, where do we start? How do we move from here?
This is awesome. I am so grateful to you for putting this together, and especially looking into the Pittsburgh model. And I feel like I haven't done anything on this, and I'm glad. This is so much better.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Other questions?
Well, the other part of the bird thing is the glass.
Right.
And I've communicated with both the Caton Company and who's the guy doing the Downtown Development Corporation?
Drew Whiting?
Yeah, he made it sound like he was going to look into it. I don't know whether Caton Company is. But for the bird, I mean, as you well know, the glass is a significant part of it.
Yeah, I'm an amateur birder, and I have an architecture degree. I think it's very important, but I think that's maybe not going to be addressed in our dark sky ordinance.
No,
but
it's kind of was part of the mission of the, yeah.
If I could clarify what exactly you're talking about. Are we discussing the thing next to the food hall, the big glass kind of walkway?
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay, yeah. I saw the sign for it recently, and that came to mind as a significant hazard.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's unfortunate that, I mean, several new buildings have gone up with that kind of. The other thing is the port got, at least Julie Slomsky, she was really excited to learn about the birdcast and turning the lights off on the tower. So using maybe the ways we can help other people to learn about that.
Yes, sorry. One thing that I did mention to Cooper, Jackie, and Matthew was taking a look at our waterfront conditional use zoning layer that exists, which, in case you don't know, that just highlights certain areas along the port that have to go through an additional zoning in order to be able to build and develop on that land. what Pittsburgh did is they put their ordinance inside of their zoning ordinance to kind of be able to layer that specifically. So we've talked about it. That again would be later steps. As Jackie mentioned, the first step would be focusing on city-owned property, and I'm sure that partnerships with the Port Authority and Julie Slomski are, I would say, hopefully available in the future.
But I was just encouraging us to, when we're using our public media and stuff, to be using that as a presence during the migration season, because not just for the tower, but other things people have discretion over.
Right, yeah. And if we end up finishing the ordinance, we can become dark sky certified, which can be used as a tourist attraction and marketing for, not just us as a city, but for Presque Isle, for the Bluffs, because people do come here for specific reasons, not just to visit our city, but environmentally. So that would be a cool little fun tidbit.
And there's supposedly a dark sky location out in the lake somewhere.
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that Cherry Springs Park is a dark sky recognized piece of land. There is also an Oil City Astronomer Association that we also were looking into reaching out to, just because they are recognized by the Dark Skies Association as a group.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Is it in regards to the presentation? Yes, you may ask a question.
Okay, yeah.
Could you come to the podium, please?
It's on my Facebook, just so yeah, and then we'll just take turns. Grab another one.
So, would like the subcommittee, would they help to determine like what parts of town would get new lighting first? Or have you guys thought of that in regard to, because especially thinking about like, black and brown communities and their lighting, would you guys start there where it's more impoverished or more minorities live? Or do you have no idea yet?
I don't think we've gotten that far yet.
Okay.
If we start with city-owned lights, then that would just be sort of wherever our city-owned lights are, but that would be later down the road.
Well, I'm just thinking about communities. I mean, Frontier is much different than, East Third on German kind of thing. So, okay, great. And then you had talked about like projections. They had, first and foremost, they mapped out Pittsburgh, it looked like, and then they had projections about how much it would cost. Would the subcommittee help to determine those kind of costs and like map out what's going on in our area?
I think the subcommittee would provide a recommendation, and then the city staff would probably hire a consultant or something to start drafting the ordinance, and that's when we would look into costs and all of that, yeah.
So would the consultant help to determine those costs? Okay.
They could.
Yeah. Understood. And then could PennDOT be utilized at all? I mean, you guys talked about bond funding and ARP for Pittsburgh, but is there any grant money or anything like that from the state that could be utilized?
So the state is currently replacing throughout the Commonwealth all of their owned lights. So just for reference, the lights that are around the city, 8,000 of them are owned by Penelec, which goes, it's who we pay for our utilities. And out of that 8,000, approximately 700 to 800 are city owned. There could be grants. However, the pool just opened back up. They're currently rewriting the budget for 2027 at the moment. Grant funding, it could be available. It's just we haven't necessarily, I would say, gotten that far.
Understood. And I'm just taking notes as you guys are going, so I understand that you guys are early.
I'd just like to add the street lights that are owned by Penelec. Because they're owned by Penelec, Penelec is the one who would have to replace the light bulbs. And currently, they have not been in favor of that because the more energy, the more they cost, the more money we pay them. So, and so in other places, they've finally begun working with municipalities. And so that's in the very initial phases. We haven't given up, but that's something that's going to take a lot of work to get Penelec on board with upgrading the lights to use less energy.
And we can put in the ordinance that
it's required.
It can't be required. We can highly suggest it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to comply.
Even if it's in the city in general,
Correct. They own the lamp, so we don't have any, they own the whole structure of the light. They don't just own the light bulb.
but there's no way to write like an ordinance that states that anybody
would be-
within the city has to follow these rules with regard to
Penelec's
lighting?
governed by the Public Utility Commission, and they give a lot of authority to the utilities
Gotcha.
to be able to provide services, because so
Understood.
many people rely on electricity as a life and death thing. And so they have more, the policies are in their favor.
Understood. Completely understood. Thank you for clarifying. And
The current policies, that doesn't mean we can't improve them.
I'm with you on that one. And then if you are a dark sky city, municipality, whatever, do you get any type of like special tax status or anything like that? Okay. And then last but not least, are you guys working with the county on anything with regard to the dark sky ordinance?
We have not been working with the county yet. This
Okay.
presentation is kind of
It's
as far
new.
as we've gotten. Yeah.
I always have lots of questions, so thank you for indulging me. That's all I have. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you for your questions.
If I might add one more question
Yes.
that came to me during that discussion. Has there been any talk in your research in regards to Pittsburgh about the elimination, I guess, of additional grid stress from switching to LEDs? Would that be something that would spur Penelec in the right direction?
I'm assuming in their large document that was compiled by their consultants, some of it is language that I don't understand just because of not being versed in electronic and, that kind of thing. I can read into that. I don't want to say yes, but potentially. They were looking at a lot. And they, when we're done, I can, if anybody wants those, I can happily get those links and email them to you. They're really cool and helpful, but that is a good question.
Thank you.
It's definitely a concern of theirs, Molly, but their goal isn't necessarily to use less energy, it's how can we provide more?
Right, of course.
So.
Indeed.
They're
I
different,
get that.
depending on what your goal, you're going to come up with different answers to those problems.
Yeah, and the lights that they're doing are decreasing, but those are just the 36,000 out of how many others that exist throughout the city, so.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's a good start.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is a good start.
Every little bit helps.
Anything else? I just want to say I like the idea of the lead, not do as I say, but the lead by example, I'm sorry. Lead by example, and then hopefully everyone else follows. So, well, thank you very much for the presentation, Cooper and Hannah. Next item, potential grant opportunities.
I don't have anything really to report yet on this, but we mentioned it earlier, so we'll keep it on there for maybe old business for the next agenda.
Sounds good. Next item, annual report. Any questions, concerns regarding the annual report? All right.
Here to sign.
All right. So I guess with that, do I have a motion to approve the annual report of 2025? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you.
Mike, you get to sign it too.
Yes, Secretary. All right, and the final item would be the letter to the mayor.
Yes, yes. Well, do you want to, Matt, do you want to take the lead since you're the chair? And then
I can do that.
we can, look at the draft, you can circulate it however you'd like to do. I can put it on official new letterhead.
Okay. Yes, so basically the letter would be in regards to what the EAC's priorities are, what the EAC is, what our priorities are.
The initiatives that that you've
Regarding
addressed in terms of your
kinda like-
subcommittees.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
You should be able to have something by February, the end of February. Well, I'll try sooner, but just so everyone can look at it first.
Before our next meeting.
All right.
Sounds good. Great, thank you.
Do we need to vote on being authorized, or probably, no, probably just vote on the letter before we send it out?
Yeah, maybe. That's fine, if you'd like to. It's your call.
Yeah. I just don't want to act without permission, so.
Well, you were suggesting that you were going to craft something and send it to everybody via
Mhm.
email.
Yeah.
Like we did with the annual report, to
Yeah.
make sure to get feedback that way before anything was submitted to the
Mhm.
mayor, correct?
Correct.
So that sounds good to me.
All right, yeah, and then we can vote to approve the letter and then sign it at the next meeting.
Sure.
All right. Any questions on that? All right, sounds good. Other business, sustainability coordinator update.
Hi, everybody. As Jackie said, I'm working on putting a list together of all the sustainability initiatives to go over with Mayor Devlin to discuss if she is still, her administration is in support of any of them, or if they want to take a different focus, or if there's other initiatives that they're interested in. And then also the Urban Forest Committee, which I'm a liaison to, they submitted a letter to Mayor Daria too with some of their specific initiatives that they're interested in. And right now I'm working on the compiling our annual recycling reports for the previous year. The city of Erie has to submit an annual recycling report to the county and then to the state. And then we get a performance grant based on the amount of recyclables that we have recycled. It's like $1. You get a certain amount for every pound you've recycled. And then I'm also currently working on submitting our Tree City USA recognition request for 2025. They're funny because you get declared a Tree City USA, but it's technically based on previous year's data. So they're always a year behind, but that's just how they do it. So that's also due by the end of the week.
Okay.
So that's what I've been working on.
Thank
And
you.
I went to India and it was super awesome there.
Great. Any questions, comments for Ms. Peelman? All right, seeing none. Other business item, second item, last item, Bureau of Planning and Zoning updates.
Thanks. Just wanted to let you know that we did complete the Watershed and Forestry grant. Is that what it's called? Watershed and Forestry grant, I believe. That was what we were calling.
Yeah, the DCNR Community Watershed and Forestry Grant.
Forestry
Yes.
grant, which I called the tree grant for the life of it. But we have 2 months grace period to close out that grant. So we're now, all of the plantings that have occurred, the tiny forests, the riparian buffer improvements, all of the work that's been done. Cooper
Lawn conversions.
Lawn conversions. Cooper is actually working on putting that all into what's called the Tree Keeper, which is the system that's used by the state. So we are finalizing that, and part of that grant was the tree inventory. The consultants completed that at the end of November, beginning of December. We're still waiting on the final report, but they completed almost 19,000, they surveyed almost 19,000 trees, and that was almost the entire city. That was just street trees. There was still, do you want to say something?
I just want to say that's super depressing, just so everybody knows. We need twice as many trees as that.
So,
She's saying it's depressing that that almost the entire city is only 19,000.
and those were
trees,
just street trees.
That she
So
would prefer that
yeah.
to be double.
Right. Well, so now that we have this inventory completed, actually, Aaron, we've been meeting with the state on what's next for the city of Erie, what's next in terms of funding, partnerships, collaborations. And so this is the second or third time that we've been on a call with them. We're pulling in our grants team now, and we're ready to move. So we have the support, I believe, around this not only plantings that we can use the funding for, but now we can use funding this year, starting this year, on pruning as well, and removal. So I guess, from what I understand from Sarah, that was not allowed in previous years. Ever, to use funding for pruning.
Yeah, I've been here 21 years. Your grants have never included maintenance in their grant program. They provide to plant new resources, but then it's up to the grantee to provide the maintenance for them. So that's huge, because there's up 19,000 trees in the city that need trimmed. And not to be confused with Penelec. Penelec trims to clear the utility lines. They do not trim trees for the health of the tree. So it's a different type of trimming.
And we're positioned now with the survey, the tree inventory, that we have a full list of what tree, where it's located, what needs to be done to that specific tree. So, and we have sort of low-hanging fruit, and it's all prioritized in the inventory. So we're ready to move. We are just now aligning ourselves with the funding streams.
Yeah, and with so much of the city being in lower income neighborhoods, it's a huge win to be able to help maintain trees for property owners.
And the tree inventory was prioritized to look at the disadvantaged neighborhoods first. We did prioritize that with the consultant. So, but they just happened to be able to do most of the city. So, moving on, the comprehensive recreation parks and open space plan. The team in the department has really been working on stakeholder engagement at the moment, and I know some of you have been, we've reached out to. We've had, this last month has really been focused on kind of finalizing our engagement with stakeholders around programming, around utilization of the parks, amenities that they would like to see at the parks, different organizations using the parks, how they use the parks, what they need, what the needs are of the community. So that's wrapping up, and now we're going to be moving into the recommendation phase of the project. So I'll be sharing with you where you can find those recommendations next. If you have input, if the EAC as a whole has input, I'd be happy to present on that, or have the consultants present on that. And then, you know, if you have recommendations, you can definitely share your input. Lastly,
we have a park in my neighborhood, and I don't think we were asked anything other than the individual survey.
Which neighborhood are you?
Baldwin Park.
Oh.
Nobody's ever asked us.
Please. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, pickleball.
Yeah, the pickleball
Well,
court
we
is
didn't
in Baldwin
ask
Park.
for pickleball. Pickleball was
Yeah.
put upon us.
What's the neighborhood organization? Is there a neighborhood organization?
So where you're talking about, Freda, there's not a neighborhood organization that is represented by that
We have a next
geographical-
door neighborhood, though.
Right, so we're specifically speaking to 501c3s that, like SSJ, BEST, those kinds of things. Stakeholders is more of organizations and those types of groups. If your neighborhood does have an organization that, you know, meets or has a community group of neighbors that would like to, you know, speak, I'm happily, you know, that we have a questionnaire that was created by the consultants that we can help assist with.
We didn't only talk to the 501c3s.
Right.
We, over the course of the fall and into the winter, the team has been going to different neighborhood watch meetings, different neighborhood group meetings, and presenting on the parks plan. Do you have a regularly
No, but
scheduled
we have
meeting?
a next door defined neighborhood.
Okay, that's an app that you
Right,
use,
right, but it's on the city, it's mapped it.
Right. So
But-
that's, I mean, we'd be happy to come and meet with a group of neighbors if you wanted to organize that. But at this time through, well, we've covered most of the city in terms of the neighborhood organizations and neighborhood community groups that exist at this time. We've also had multiple events to allow the public to come and share the input too.
Because we still don't have a crosswalk or sidewalks. We were supposed to get sidewalks when they spent all that money on the pickleball, and they never did that.
Where are you referring to, in Baldwin Park?
Yep. You know, they spent all that money, and ADA would require them to upgrade the sidewalks, but they never did. You know, Chuck, what's his name, said they would do it.
I'll bring it to their attention. I know they do have a list of which parks don't have sidewalks yet, and we've been slowly installing sidewalks, so I'll make sure that gets brought to
If we had a sidewalk,
Public Works
then we could have a
attention.
defined crosswalk, and that way the pickleball people wouldn't block our access to the park.
Baldwin Park does have a sidewalk that goes through the whole park.
But
No,
not,
a
but doesn't
sidewalk
have
around the
sidewalks.
street.
Doesn't have sidewalks.
That's
Right.
something that will be addressed in the parks plan for sure. They're looking at all of that. They're looking at access, they're looking at connections. So I'm certain that will be addressed. That's part of our RFP to look at connections and accessibility around each of our 51 parks. So if we're talking sidewalks, that's one thing. If you're talking about amenities and other things within Baldwin Park, did you participate in the survey, or if you wanted to reach out directly to me and I can relay that information to the consultant, we can absolutely, to gather the feedback and input it still to the consultants to make it into the plan. So there's time, but we should do that in the next couple of weeks.
Is it possible to share the survey link onto that app you're referring to, Nextdoor?
So the city ought to
survey
be
link is-
using Nextdoor.
It's already on there?
It's closed.
Oh, it
The
is
survey
closed?
link is closed, but
I'm
that does.
sure I commented on the survey.
Okay, but that doesn't mean we can't take your input or
Right.
your community's input and pass that along. Okay?
So, a couple, are you done, or because?
I'm finished.
Yeah, because I did ask that we have an opportunity as members to offer a comment if we had a comment, and I don't see it on the agenda.
Well, this would be the time to do it.
Okay, so
Other business.
So I just wanted to mention that having seen the thing about the noncompliance from the sewer authority, not them, but two of the businesses, and I do have experience in hazardous waste and pollution prevention, that it would be nice to have Mr. Ronzetti come and explain to us how the industrial pretreatment program is working, whether they are or aren't doing any kind of pollution prevention with businesses. Because there's a lot of things, and I know this from personal experience, a lot of things businesses can do to reduce the amount of hazardous waste they generate in the first place.
What Fred is referring to is there was an ad in the paper that discussed two businesses in the city of Erie that are in non-compliance. That were in significant non-compliance with their effluents. And so this is a standard and typical thing that happens and that is required by the EPA. Basil would be more than happy, he said, Basil Ronzetti, the Bureau Chief of Sewers, would be more than happy to come and talk to EAC if you have other questions and give you more detail as to what the details are in terms of if they're the non-compliance, and then how they work with them to come up to be compliant, and then the monitoring that occurs afterwards. So this is a very standard, normal thing that the Bureau of Sewers is required to do per EPA regulations.
Right. I worked with a program for 7 years, and multi-county program, and we identified particular categories of businesses that there was the best opportunity to reduce, and it was both air and hazardous waste and sewer authority. And so we were doing things to reduce what entered those systems. And so that's why I want to know what kind of pollution prevention education they're doing with the businesses. I suspect not a lot.
I can't speak to that, but he said he would be happy to come and address the board.
Thank you for the update. Anything else?
I would like to ask if on next month's agenda, we can have a discussion about the Erie Coke site, DEP's report from June on soil investigation, and the water monitoring is in. There are some questions that we would like to raise with eventually perhaps the council joining in, maybe putting some pressure on different folks, but there's also a thing with risk assessment. So I would just like that discussion to be put on.
Okay.
Do you want to do a presentation on the report?
Just a short discussion with the idea that perhaps we might form another subcommittee.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I would just recommend emailing myself and Jackie so we can make sure it's on the agenda. That's
Okay.
basically how we handle the agenda requests.
And I've already mentioned something for the agenda next time, too.
Reuse of the site is another issue.
Okay. Anything else? I do have one thing. If I recall, Mr. Howden resigned this month. So
His term was up.
His term was up? Okay, his term was up.
He did
Sorry.
not seek
Right.
reappointment.
I apologize, I misspoke. He did not seek reappointment. I just wanted to thank Mr. Howden for the time he served here. Unfortunately, he's not here, but I did send him an email too expressing the same, so just wanted to publicly thank him. So if you're out there watching, Bob, thank you.
Here, here.
That being said, we do have a vacant seat.
Correct.
Yeah, what happens with that vacancy?
That was council appoint, it was a council appoint, it is a council appointment.
Okay.
So currently, the new administration is looking at all of the boards and all of the councils and all of the authorities, and they're planning to revisit some of these and look through. Also with training, hopefully bring some training to some of the boards. So they're sort of revising and looking at, I know it's not their appointment, but, you know, in terms of just looking at the makeup, the structure, who's on there, that type of thing.
So there might be
They
a
understand.
specific council member who gets to make the appointment?
Right, a council person would appoint.
And I presume they're aware that they have an appointment?
Titus would probably be designated which council member.
They would vote on, they might submit somebody, if the entire council votes on it, I believe. Not one person just nominates this, they decide as a group who they want to nominate. City council.
There's a council person that would nominate it, and then the resolution was passed
Yeah.
as a whole.
So one person would select someone.
No.
That's what Marilyn just said.
One person presents it formally, but it's the group decides together who they would like to present. But an individual has to sponsor that to put it on the agenda.
I'll just mention to our liaison that one of our associate members lives in the city of Erie and there is therefore viable as a candidate to serve. And so if you wanted to nominate Sarah Wedekind, I just asked her if she would be amenable to that nomination, and she is. So,
It'd be nice if they have a little diversity.
okay, I do. That's fine.
No, but, no.
Okay, there's just, I mean, there has to be people willing to serve, so I was just making our council member aware that there is at least one person currently present that is willing to serve. But other nominations are certainly optional.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Oh, I will motion to adjourn. Is that what you asked?
Yes, that's it. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? If you are, get out. So be it. Meeting adjourned at, it looks like 4:08?
That's what I put.
4:09.
Thanks to all our guests.
Yes, thank you for everyone who came.